So it is actually said that Nancy Majonhi confessed killing her husband and dismembering his body, as well as disposing his body parts in three latrine toilets, to her family and to his family, because according to her, his spirit was tormenting her. Basically, Prosper was speaking from his grave. Hello everyone, hello once again. Welcome to another real crime episode. So in today's episode, we're actually talking about a real crime that was committed, and yeah, not a mystery, but a crime that was committed, and we know who did it and probably why. Okay, if you're new to this channel, please do subscribe. Stick around, okay? If you are an already subscriber, welcome back. Thank you. I do appreciate you. Right, let's jump right in to today's story. So today's story actually happened in the Republic of South Africa. Yeah, just next door. Right, so this happened in Northwest. So sometime in November of 2021, a lady by the name Nancy Majonhi died in hospital in Northwest Province, Rustenburg. Okay, so she died in hospital, but she was not in an ordinary hospital. She was in a hospital as like what? Not a prisoner, but she had been arrested. So she was in hospital, she had been arrested, and she was waiting to apply for bail. She couldn't apply for bail because of her poor and deteriorating health and mental situation. So by the time she died, she had not applied for bail at all. She was in hospital. So it is said that she was refusing to take her medicine as well as her food. She was some hunger strike and medicine strike until she died. The post-mortem that was supposed to be conducted to see the cause of death, I didn't get the results. Neither did I see where they actually said they did perform the post-mortem. The last I read, it was they were going to do the post-mortem. They were going to do a post-mortem to find out what actually the cause of death was. But the last I read, she was on a hunger strike and she was refusing to take all her prescribed medicine in that particular hospital. So why was Nancy in a hospital? And why was Nancy supposed to be applying for bail? And who is Nancy? So Nancy Majonhi, from now on, I'm going to be calling her Nancy. Nancy Majonhi was a 42-year-old Zimbabwean woman. And Nancy Majonhi had been married until 6 years ago. She was married to her husband, Prosper Let me look for his name. He was Prosper Chipungare. Okay, she was married to Prosper Chipungare, and the two had two children. They actually had three, and then one died, so they were left with two children. But the children were staying in Joburg, and they were staying in Rustenburg. Right. So what happened 6 years ago? 6 years ago is Nancy and Prosper. So I'm going to be calling the husband Prosper from now on, and the wife Nancy. Prosper and Nancy went into a fight. When they got into a fight, this is according to Nancy, they got into a fight. No one has been told what the fight was about, but they had a fight, verbal, which went physical. So when that happened, Nancy took a hammer and hit Prosper in the head. After Prosper was unconscious, or after now it's not even clear whether he was dead or he was just unconscious, she took a spade. She started dismembering him. It's not clear whether he was already dead or he was just unconscious when she dismembered him. After she finished dismembering him, she took the body parts and distributed them in 3 latrine toilets in her neighborhood. After that, she cleaned the whole crime scene, so squeaky clean that she left no trace. of what had happened. Then, after cleaning, the following day, Nancy went to Sun City Police Station to report her husband missing. She filed a missing persons report. However, Nancy did not wait to see how far the police would go searching for her husband, or for them to give her an update, or for them to say, okay, come and give us more information on this and that. No. She quickly packed all her belongings and went back home. Zimbabwe. Yeah. Now, 6 years, this actually happened in July of 2015. 6 years later, Nancy gathered her family and confessed. And she gathered her husband's family and confessed. So it is actually said that Nancy Majonhi confessed killing her husband and dismembering his body, as well as disposing his body parts in 3 latrine toilets, to her family and to his family, because according to her, his spirit was tormenting her. Basically, Prosper was speaking from his grave. Right. So if you watched some of my videos before, I've actually mentioned in one video that some people do speak from their graves. So I would say this is an incident of, this is actually an example of somebody speaking from their grave, if indeed it's true that she was being tormented by his spirit. So what did she decide to do? After speaking to her family and speaking to her husband's family, she decided, their families decided that they wanted the remains to come home and be buried. So they had to go to South Africa. They went back to Rustenburg. When they got to Rustenburg, there was just no way they were going to start demolishing people's latrines and retrieve those remains. They had to go to the police station. Nancy was more than happy to hand herself over to the police and confess every little detail of what she did. And from there, they actually, the police got some bulldozers and they went to demolish these latrines where Nancy was staying, and they found remains. They found bones, they found the skull. But they just didn't give these remains to Prosper's family. They were actually saying they need to do a DNA test first to see if indeed this was Prosper. Okay? So in the meantime, Nancy has handed herself over to the police, and she's been charged with murder based on her own confession. Yeah? The next thing, Nancy was expressing her interest in applying for bail. Okay, now please make this make sense for me. You had already run away for a good 6 years. You were out of the country. You ran away from the country because you knew what you had done. Now you're applying for bail? Make it make sense, Miss Nancy. Anyway, so Nancy had expressed her interest to actually apply for bail. She got legal aid and she was ready to apply for bail. And then, the first appearance, her bail application was postponed because there was no translator. There was no Shona translator. There was nobody to help with translation. Remember, she's from Zimbabwe, and this is Rustenburg. Rustenburg is in the northwest of South Africa. And if I'm not mistaken, this is a Setswana province. Yeah, those are just different languages. So they really needed somebody who was going to interpret or to translate. So they couldn't find that. And then there was another time she actually went again for a bail application, and then it turned out that they had a glitch. They called it a technical glitch with their recording machines. the court said they had a technical glitch with their recording machines, so there was just no way they could actually conduct the bail hearing. Now, I need you to remember that when you get legal aid, these are like government lawyers that are going to be representing you for free. Surely you're not paying for these services. These lawyers have no business whatsoever going to the courts and saying, no, I need my client. You guys need to sit for this hearing. You need to do, nah. They have no reason to push for these things. You are not paying them. This is pro bono. Anyway, Nancy got sick and she was taken from the cells. Not holding cells, probably she was in remand, right? So she was taken from there and placed in a hospital. And I want to believe this is like a prison hospital. I think it was a prison hospital. That's just my thinking. And or even if it was an ordinary hospital, it's probably there's a special wing for prisoners. I don't know. But anyway, while she was there, she actually the date for her bail hearing arrived, and this legal aid, the lawyers went to court and they presented a letter to the judges, and the letter was actually saying that she wasn't mentally and physically fit to be in court, so she was in hospital. And also they expressed concern that in the letter, the doctors expressed concern that she was refusing to take her meals and she was refusing to take all the prescribed medicine. And then the state wished her a speed recovery. How nice. So they wished her speed recovery and they wished her luck with her bail application. The state, very nice people. However, Nancy stayed in hospital with a hunger strike and refusing to take medication. And in November, so Nancy handed herself over to the police in August, and then the bail application started in September, and then it was being postponed, and then one time she could not be able to go into the hospital because she could not be able to go to court because she was mentally and physically unfit to be in court. However, in November of 2021, Nancy died. Nancy died in hospital while she was waiting to apply for bail, while she was probably waiting to go for trial. She died. Now, I don't know what the cause of death was, because I haven't found anywhere where they actually stated the cause of death. Nancy was 42, and by the time her husband died, that was 6 years back, he was 44. So what about the children? I don't know. These children could have been adults actually, or young adults, because by the time this thing happened, they were not even staying with their parents. They were already staying in Joburg, probably working or probably studying. I don't know, but they were not like little children. May her soul rest in peace. But anyway, that's the story about Nancy Majonhi, who killed her husband and ended up confessing to the murder 6 years down the line. 6 years down the line. Talk of people speaking from their graves. So the police said they don't know why she decided to confess, but there is a portion that I read where she said she was being tormented by the spirit of this man, or she was being haunted by the spirit of her late husband, and she could not sleep, she could not eat, she could not do anything. He was just pushing her to confess, and she just had to do it, and she did it. Talk of domestic violence. Okay, now guys, I don't know why people still do this. I don't know why people still engage in physical fights or domestic violence. And unfortunately, when we talk about domestic violence, we normally look at it from an angle of women are being abused. We don't even actually acknowledge that there are men that could actually be abused by their wives or by their girlfriends or their partners. We normally just look at, oh, you're abusing women. I don't deny that women are abused, but I also I don't pretend that there are no abusive women. There are abusive women. It could be that maybe she got tired of being abused and one day she decided, I am going to strike back. Or it could be that it was their little game where they were always fighting, and one day she decided, I'm tired of this, I am going to strike back. Or it could be maybe it was just the first time that they had such a huge fight that it ended up becoming physical, because there were no neighbors that were interviewed about their lifestyle, like how did these people live before this whole thing. I didn't find anywhere where the neighbors were interviewed or where family members were interviewed concerning how the marriage was. But yeah, that's what happened. Nancy killed her husband and confessed 6 years later because his spirit was tormenting her. Now she also ended up dying in custody, waiting for her bail application or waiting for trial. Sad story. Now those kids are orphans. Yeah, that's a very sad story. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for watching. Like I always say, guys, stay away from crime. If you do crime, you are most likely to do the time. Take good care of yourselves out there. There is COVID. COVID is still around. COVID is still among us. Do take care of yourselves. Do take care of your families. And be blessed. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.